So, good morning, good day. And Buddhist meditation is often associated with a relaxation, with becoming calm, and maybe for good reason, because many people in the modern world are stressed. And I would propose that in the ancient world, in the time of the Buddha, that the association with calm and relaxation was less prominent than the association with being courageous. That the people who really set out to do this Buddhist practice in a dedicated way were often seen as going against the stream against the current of popular culture, and against the expectations of what was family and society wanted of them, and also against the current of their own attachments and clingings and greeds. And to be able to turn that around and to go against the current, to do what was maybe unpopular, to really stand up and not give in to attachments of all kinds, to fears of all kinds. This took courage. And so the way that the word for effort in practice could be translated as courageous effort. Some people, and I think when it was translated to Tibetan, it became heroic effort. And this calls a lot on us. Relaxation, it's almost like it doesn't call much on us. It's more like giving up or relaxing or not needing to do anything. In a life where people are so busy and have to do, it's a medicine to be able to relax and feel comfortable with oneself, at ease with oneself, and at home with oneself without having to prove oneself or apologize for oneself. So there's good reason to emphasize this letting go and relaxing and just being. But at the most, it's half of what this practice is about. The other half is to actually act courageously, to act on the path of liberation and with courage, with confidence, with conviction, with assurance, to make choices of what to let go of and what to engage in, so that we can engage in the path of practice, so we can engage in this world in a caring way for others. And so the idea of courage. So I'd like to suggest for this sitting that we sit, and we haven't done. I don't think we've really done this in these years now of doing YouTube. So at least for today, I'd like to call upon you to sit with courage, or sit with strength, as if you're sitting upright and you're engaging actively, rather than simply settling back and letting go and letting go. And there's a way of engaging, sitting upright or laying down in such a way that there's a real kind of engagement, strength. Yes, I'm here. Yes, I'm showing up. And then with that strength, with the metaphor of standing upright or sitting upright, letting all kinds of things that are unneeded fall away. Like raindrops are said to just wash right off the edges of the lotus blossom, the lotus leaves. And you might end up, parts of you, as relaxed as other ways, but with a certain kind of alertness and clarity and definitiveness. Yes, here I am, clearly, purposefully, intently, almost as if the mind can then relax deeply, maybe even deeper. The mind can maybe become quieter than ever, because something inside of you knows that you're showing up and being present courageously for something which is important. And that is to be alive now and now, without fear, without attachments, without clinging, without resistance, but really showing up for this moment. So to assume a meditation posture that for you is the right posture, but give some care to the posture so that it's a posture that certainly allows you to be at ease in your body, at ease in your posture, but also a posture that gives expression or taps into your capacity for being here and now in a strong way, in a confident way. For people sitting in a chair or on a cushion, maybe sitting up a little straighter or a lot straighter. Maybe allowing the chest to be a little bit open and expanded. And then lowering your eyes, your gaze, or if it's comfortable for you to close your eyes. And see, in this sitting here quietly with your eyes closed, your gaze down, see inside of you, is there a place for where confidence resides, courage? And if it's not available now, where in your body do you associate, what part of your body do you associate with being confident, strong, and courageous in showing up and really being here? And maybe offering some energy and intentionality into this place of strength. Perhaps a courageous strength, a courageous willingness to show up and be here that can infuse the deep inhale with strength and a reassuring, confident relaxing as you exhale. And letting your breathing return to normal. And is there a way of breathing in gently but firmly, clearly? through the places of holding and tension you might have. That doesn't relax them. You're not trying to relax anything. But as you breathe in through everything confidently, it's almost as if you're breaking through the tension. Almost like you're walking through snow which has a crisped, frozen top, and each time you step, the ice breaks and you settle into the soft snow. With every inhale, the inhale begins and arises and expresses confidence, courage. With the inhale, where you can face anything, be with anything, as if the inhale moves through, breaks through whatever tension there might be, resistance there might be. And the exhale is a landing back into the softness within. If you find yourself thinking a lot or preoccupied, rather than letting go of that, become bigger than that. Stand up, metaphorically stand up for yourself and be stronger, more courageous. Let your awareness and your dedication be more powerful than the distractions. Show up in a strong way. Here I am, to be present, present with the breathing, with the body, to be here and aware, awake. If you are calmer now, more settled than you were at the beginning of the sitting, in the midst of that calmness, can you arouse a quiet confidence, a courage, a way of being courageously here, present for whatever is here with you, with strength, with a kind of standing up, showing up for yourself, for the situation. Courageously present with a calm, quiet mind. And as we come to the end of this sitting, to once again touch into where inside of you is a place of confidence and courage. Maybe not present now, but where would it be present when that's true for you? And maybe settle into that place, open yourself to that place. Appreciate whatever capacity, however small, you have of courage, courageous effort. And imagine yourself standing maybe on a small hilltop, overlooking a vast multitude of people. And standing there confidently, courageously, clearly, unapologetically, wishing everyone well. May all people be happy. May all people be free of strife and war. May all people be safe, far away from violence. May all people be peaceful, untroubled with animosity, hostility, the hatred of other people. And may all people be free, free of oppression, free of discrimination, and free of hostility and free of being suppressed, held back. Confidently, let's wish everyone well. Confidently, let our well-wishing, our care for the world be stronger than our fear, our hate, our delusion, our greed and conceit. Let this practice awaken a confident, courageous way of being in this world. Thank you. So we come to the fifth talk on nonviolence. And I think most of you clearly know that this is a maybe understated way of responding to the horrific violence that's happening in the Middle East. And but also in my heart, the horrific violence in Ukraine and Syria, Sudan, Burma, all over the world. And And in this last meditation I led, it might not have been maybe the most popular guided meditation I've given. Maybe because many people associate Buddhist meditation with acceptance, with relaxation, with allowing, with just settling back and being no one, going nowhere, nothing to do. And I would like to propose that that's only half the picture. And in fact, to make that the full picture of what Buddhist practice is to shortchange oneself, is to not really step up to really live in this world in a completely free way. The Buddha did not avoid the world after he was enlightened. He engaged in the world. He intentionally went into places where people were, back to his home. One of the first things he did was go back to his hometown and visit his people. And so half of the practice may be considered relaxation. The other half of practice is to awaken an energy, a capacity to act, and to not be held in check by fear, not be held in check with resistance, not be held in check by diminishing ourselves or making ourselves some artificially little. There's a way of letting go of self-conceit, letting go of fear, that allows us to show up more fully. In fact, to practice mindfulness, to really be present in such a way that we're no longer limited by our fear. There's nothing that limits us from acting wisely, well, compassionately in this world. And Buddhist practice is about going forth, is about connecting, is about living for the welfare and happiness of everyone. I quoted it earlier in the week, but one of the very important quotes for me in the Buddhist discourses, one that says that a wise person does not intend harm to self, to others, to self and others, and to the whole world. Rather, a wise person intends welfare for self, intends welfare for others, intends welfare for self and others, intends welfare for the whole world. And it's not just intending, but it's also showing up. And so I would like to give a couple of quotes and then make what for me is a very important statement. So this idea of showing up courageously, the Buddha uses metaphors that it's not so popular to use in the modern Western Buddhist circles. There's a very strong ethos against anything that is excessively assertive or masculine or macho or warrior-like. And so there's been a strong movement of backing down from these kinds of metaphors that the Buddha uses a lot, warrior kind of metaphors. And I've been avoiding them mostly because if I use them, people will be critical. And surprised when women teachers are allowed to use it. And hearing it was really inspiring to come from women. But here's one that compared to a person who conquers 1,000 times 1,000 people is the person who conquers oneself. The person who conquers oneself is supreme in battle. So the greatest battle we fight is the one with ourselves. We fight all the ways that we limit ourselves, hold ourselves in check, get attached, live in fear. That is the battle. That's where we show up. And that's what we have courage to do in this practice. And certainly relaxing, it takes courage to really relax deeply. To settle back and allow our experience to go through us, it takes courage. But these two elements, letting go and courageous actions, they go hand in hand. One done sometimes, some situations one predominates, some others the others, but it's not all about letting go. It's also about action and courageous action. And this battle with oneself, that doesn't mean that we're hostile towards ourselves or aggressive to ourselves or hating ourselves. It means that we actually love ourselves because we want to stop the ways in which we limit ourselves. And then the person who day and night delights in harmlessness and has loving kindness towards all beings is the one who has no hate for anyone. So here we get again to the Buddha's idea of harmlessness, but here delights in living a harmless life. Comes with loving kindness, free of hatred towards hostility towards anyone. These are some of the key and most important teachings the Buddha gives. And over and over again we see this emphasis on living a harmless life, but living with metta, with loving kindness, with no hate for anyone. But this does not mean that we're passive. And there's the Buddha's example of his life is not one of a passive person. He was engaged with people and the situations of his time. But here's a small quote that I kind of like, that it is possible, Ananda, the Buddha speaking to his main attendant, it is possible that you can look on with indifference at an elder monastic, a senior monastic, being offended. Truly, Ananda, care does not grow from being still, unreactive, when a senior monastic is being offended. So if someone's being offended, stand up, get involved. Don't just do nothing, is the teaching here. And the Buddha even said to his monastics, even if your teacher does something which is unethical, speak up. Talk to the person. Speak up. Don't let them get away with it. And then so the reason I want to emphasize today action and end this week with us stepping up and doing something is that the more we're troubled, more we're distressed by events in the world, the more important it is for us to act, to do something, to live differently. And to simply sit back and be angry and upset and afraid and expect someone else to do everything, to have opinions about what should have happened and who's wrong, is not helpful for this world. The world needs people who step up, who courageously act in the world. And there's many ways of doing this. And each person has to find what's appropriate for them, their life, their situation, and what the doors that are opening for them, for what they can do. If I think if the San Andreas Fault ruptures here in the peninsula where I live, and there's a massive earthquake like there was in San Francisco in 1906, the fault is only a mile or two away. I bet we would see heroic efforts by the survivors, tireless efforts to really help and step forward and help and do something. That people are not going to say, well, I'm going to go meditate now. We step up and do. Otherwise, we're actually harming ourselves. So in my situation, when 9/11 happened, I had this strong understanding that I had to do something different. The first thing I did different was that, a small thing, was that 2 weeks later I was supposed to give a day-long workshop on the Buddha's teachings on mindfulness. And I decided I can't do that, not right after 9/11. So I changed the workshop to be a workshop on the Buddha's teachings on peace. And but that was a small thing. It wasn't enough. And the last thing I wanted to do was to go back to business as usual. And that happens over and over again in ways so many times in our life we read something horrible thing in the news, and then we're changed for a while, but then things go back to usual. The murdering of George Floyd was horrendous and had a big impact on so many people and highlighted the racism in the United States in a way that hadn't really been highlighted before, I believe. And many people were alarmed, and there was movements to change. But now, some years later, how much has changed? How many people have stopped their focus on this issue and concern? And so many things kind of pass much more quickly. But with 9/11, I said, I have to be changed by this. If I'm not changed by this, I haven't really taken it in. And so, and also one of the institutions I'm involved with, the Sati Center, which is a Buddhist study center. So I said, we have to do more than just study the suttas, study the Buddha's teachings. We have to do something for our society. So from that, we decided to do the Buddhist chaplaincy program. And now for over 20 years now, we've been teaching a year-long introduction to Buddhist chaplaincy that's trained now many, many people in the skills and the orientation to Buddhist chaplaincy, has opened doors for people into this very significant way of offering spiritual care. People have become hospital chaplains, prison chaplains. People have been involved in politics and in chaplaincy kind of ways, and all kinds of places people have stepped up and offered care. And that his chaplaincy program that started because of 9/11 has now spawned 2 other similar programs in chaplaincy. And so, a big part of my life in the last 20 years has been oriented around what impact, how I was changed by 9/11. With the situation now for a couple of years in Ukraine, which is huge, the amount of violence we're seeing, and what's happening now in Gaza, and Israel, is huge. And it's impacted many of us for many decades, the endless cycles of violence there. But there's something different, qualitatively different now, more powerful what's happening now, to have so many children being killed, teens being shot down, innocent people being murdered, and people kind of living a life that's worse than. I go often to St. Quentin, the state prison here in California, and the pictures and the reports I get of people, how they live in Gaza, sounds like it's worse than what it's like in prison here in the United States. And there's a lot of opinions, a lot of ideas about all kinds of things, but free of opinions. Are we willing to be changed by this? And so what I would like to suggest is the more deeply we are impacted, that we do ourselves harm if we don't allow ourselves to change and do something different. And it might not be that we do something for the people in Gaza and Israel. How much can we do there from our distance? But maybe we now motivated to do something else better. Many times when I read in the newspaper horrific things that impact me, it motivates me to be a better Buddhist teacher, to give myself more to this teaching and this work, because I believe this work is peacemaking. This work is helping so many people become free of suffering. But sometimes that doesn't feel like enough. So now for me, I've been impacted a lot by these last couple of weeks, Israel and Gaza. And the question is, at my age, at my point in my life, what do I do? How do I do things that are different? And so I don't know yet what's possible, what I can do, and what doors will open up that are appropriate to step through. But, like I created the chaplaincy program many years ago, I've wondered about training in Sati Center, this study group center we have, maybe creating a program or facilitating a program in nonviolence, not training in nonviolence, and the strategies of it, and the wisdom of it, the philosophy of it, the and the inner work that has to happen in order to be able to be a nonviolent warrior, in a sense, for peace. Or I also have been interested in, for many years, of Buddhist peace studies, a little bit more kind of social justice and politics and having to do with peace. But it's I've devoted my life to other things these years, and as a Buddhist teacher, and my time is limited. And what can I create at this point in my life? So I'm wondering. So I'm reflecting. I'm not just giving this an example. I'm reflecting on this, thinking about it. How do I be different because of this? It's not enough just to sit back and have opinions. So so I offer that to you as something for you to think about. That the more deeply you've been impacted by tragedies of this world that we live in, your own personal ones, or the ones around you, or near you, or the ones in other places in the world, that maybe you'll do yourself a disservice if you just kind of hope just to relax, chill out, get back to life as usual. That maybe you do yourself a tremendous service of evoking a degree of courage and strength that yes, you will step forward and be different and act differently and contribute to this world in a different way. And to do it in your way, in the way that's appropriate for you. So it's not a source of stress. It's not a source of exhaustion. It's a source of inspiration and enlivening and meaningful for you. The Buddha's dedication to non-harming includes not harming oneself, benefiting oneself. And so this courageous way of acting in the world for the welfare of everyone includes for yourself. And so that it's not stressful, it's not causing more harm to yourself, it's not putting yourself in greater danger to feel even more distressed. It's the opposite, that you step forward into the world to meet the suffering of the world in such a way that you are a better person because of it, nourished by it, freed by it even. This is possible. Courageous action in the world can be transformative. So thank you very much, and I hope this week has given you things to think about and consider in a serious way, and certainly this teaching, for all its way of its shortcomings in terms of really actively addressing kind of things more specifically, for me is very important teachings, and I share with you something that's been at the center of my life for many years, and I'm glad to be able to speak about it. So thank you very much.